And we are live, I believe. Good morning, everybody. My name is Heather DelRosario, and I'm the CEO and founder of DiSH Events. I'm back from a little hiatus of What's Your Dish conversations that I do every Friday morning on LinkedIn and was YouTube, now Facebook. We're trying all the different things. And these What's Your Dish conversations are an opportunity for me to showcase people that I know or have yet to meet and share their dish, which is their who, what, why, where, and how of how they show up in their life, their business, and what I like to call the business of life. And so I feel very fortunate today because I have two amazing entrepreneurs that do things similar to what I do in my business. So I always love to collaborate and hear about how amazing people do events and gather people together for growth and learning and goodness and love and all the things. And so today I am super, super thrilled to have Jenny McKee and Heather DelRosario, who are the founders of Soulful Events. And so for some of you that may be watching, my take on their business is they did camps and then they added on conferences, and now they're doing it all. And so I think it's fantastic. And that being said, I'm going to pass it over. And we were saying before that this is the first time I've done like a weird to say three-way, but like, yeah, three people or two people that I'm interviewing at the same time. So work with us. I'm hoping that when each of them speak, their lovely faces will come up and we'll have a great conversation and learn things about each other. So with that, I will invite you, Heather, my new friend, and I always love meeting another Heather because we are so unique and I love the name. And so I will invite you, Heather, to introduce yourself and tell everybody what your dish is all about.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us here today. What is Heather all about? Oh, that's a big, long story, but I'll start with my purpose. And I feel like my purpose, I know my purpose in life is to help women become who they're supposed to be. And so I traveled that journey many different ways. I was in corporate learning and development in my previous life and burnt out. So I ended up flat on my back, not being able to put sentences together. Ended up in the hospital with chest pains. My marriage broke up at the time. It was like a full out burnout because of the stress from corporate life. Mm-hmm. And so that was my wake up. I was sitting there trying to figure out Heather, and looked in the mirror one day and just said, I can't go on like this. I have to change or I'm going to die, basically. Mm-hmm. So I fortunately found Brené Brown and the Gifts of Imperfection. That was my big aha awakening. And I dove in. Way back then, this was like almost 15 years ago now. There wasn't a lot around, right? And so I had to find things. And so my purpose is to have women not have to go through what I went through, and give them tools that are readily available so that they can make changes much faster than I did. So that's kind of where I came from. I'll let Jenny share our story about us, but my life today, I feel so blessed. I live my dream life. I live full time in my motorhome, and I travel with my husband and my two German Shepherds, and we go where the wind calls us. And spend the summers obviously near family in Ontario. But yeah, I am definitely feeling blessed doing what I love and living how I love.
Oh, that is amazing. I love that. Thank you for sharing. I think a lot of entrepreneurs that I know have a similar journey, not all the same, obviously, but from a corporate to a entrepreneurial life is very hard for people, but also very gratifying and satisfying because you're really pouring your heart and soul into what lights you up. And then that, I think, translates to who you serve. And so I think your purpose is beautiful, and thank you for doing it. So with that, we'll shift over to Jenny. And so I've known Jenny for quite a few years, but I'm also very excited to hear what she shares. So Jenny, what's your dish all about?
Ooh, that's such a loaded question, like you said, I'm the opposite, I have never been in corporate. So I've been an entrepreneur for 26 years. I started my first business when my first daughter was born. And the freedom, flexibility, and time was always, what kept me going in as an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to be home with my kids and be part of that. Now they're all grown up and having grandkids and all that stuff. But, I had challenges with my mental health, and I've been really open about that. And it's been all my adult life. And for a long time, I really struggled as an entrepreneur and with somebody with mental health challenges. I was never feeling like I was enough. I was never getting ahead. I was never, successful enough going on. And I had challenges going on in my marriage and my home life. And I really went to a very dark place for a long time. And with somebody, I suffered with anxiety and depression. And I got to the point where I just couldn't handle it anymore. And like Heather, it's those awakening times. I started going to therapy. I started, reading all the books and Brene Brown and all the things, and going to the classes and taking the workshops and learning about how to be Jenny and how to fulfill and take care of myself, because I was so depleted from giving to everybody else that there was nothing left for me anymore. And when I started learning about healing and spirituality and energy and frequencies and all that, that's when I whoa, this is my jam. And so I've always followed my passion and purpose. And so I call myself a multi-passionate entrepreneur because I've had several businesses in this 26 years. But they've all been working with women in one way or another, and helping them to declutter their mind of all the old programmings and the old stuff that really keep us stuck, and help them move forward in a way that's positive and optimistic and really manifesting the life that they desired, because it's possible. And like Heather, my purpose is to continue to do this, is to help women to understand that they are so much more than they think they are, and that they are so worthy of the love and the joy and the blessings of a wonderful life. And it's available to us when we do the work. We dig in and, check in with ourselves and figure these out and ask ourselves the hard questions sometimes. And I think that that's sometimes people don't do that. And, with all of our events and things, we encourage women to do that, to dig in and to ask what's your purpose? What makes you happy? What lights you up? And, I know now, like Heather said, I'm living my dream and my purpose. I have the freedom and flexibility that I love. I take care of my grandson each week. I have a business that is growing and thriving, and the ripple effect is such a beautiful thing. Seeing, Heather and I have seen hundreds of women come through our programs, that the transformation and the impact that they are having in their life, and that ripple effect, it's incredible. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. You've said so many things that really resonate with me where I am in my journey. And I think what you're both doing for women is so needed, in the sense of, I'll use myself as an example, but also I think a lot of entrepreneurs do it, is we go to get all the certifications and all the things, and we just grab onto these all shiny objects, and are also dealing with things at home and mental health challenges for some. And I've seen it myself, so I can really appreciate what you're doing for women, is in that I think it's most important to spend that time, devote an afternoon, a day, a weekend, whatever that looks like, for yourself to learn and grow and do the icky things that, I literally had somebody once say to me, I'm never going to attend your events because I don't want to know what's going on in my body. And I was like, okay. And that's where they're at, and that's fine. And I think there's a lot of people that will just not admit to that. And then those that do are ready, and people like you. and Heather have this beautiful community to invite people to be themselves, be safe, feel safe, and all of that. So I would love for one or both of you, as you feel called to, talk about soulful events. So like I said at the beginning, it was camps, again, my perspective, camps, adding on the conferences, and now it's soulful events. But if you could share the genesis of this. So I imagine it came from both of your journeys. And so did you know each other beforehand? Did you make, like, I'm just so curious because I actually don't know the answer to that, how this came to fruition. So please, one of you share how you came to be.
I'll start our journey. So Jenny and I did not know each other before. Well, we had a very dear friend, 𝒂𝒏𝒈𝒄𝒕𝒊𝒏𝒈 actually, who was having, yes, she was having an event. Jenny knew her, I knew her, and she was having an event for some women, just a small get together at her house when she lived out in Tyrone. And she said, hey, I have this friend who needs a drive. Can you pick her up? I'm like, absolutely. So that friend was Jenny. We instantly connected that night. It was synergy. I say the hires conspired and brought us together for sure. And it was instant chemistry between Jenny and I. And then we had known each other for a bit, and Jenny was doing her own thing. I was living in Haliburton. Now at the time I had moved up to Haliburton. I was running retreats out of my house, and we wanted to both do it on a bigger scale. And that's how Soulful Camp was born. So Jenny and I are yin and yang in so many ways, but we're so synergistic. We're like one whole person put together, and amazing. It's just, yeah, when we do our human design, it's like we are like one person. It's crazy. We finish each other's sentences, and we grow. We rebound off of each other's thoughts and ideas. So it's a really beautiful, amazing partnership, and I am so thankful for Sue for bringing us together, because I couldn't imagine doing this with anyone else. She's just not my business partner. She's my soul sister for sure. And yeah, so we started our first camp in 2018, way back then. Seems so long ago, but it seems like yesterday. And we had one camp that year at Timberlane up in Haliburton. So what we do is we rent children's camps and during their bumper season, and that's where we hold our soulful camps. So that year, how many do we have at that camp? 18 women, I think. Yeah, about 18 women attended that first everything. and we were dead by the end of that camp, and we're like, yeah, we have to change things up next year. So we've grown and evolved, and we will be having our 25th camp in May. So that is extraordinary. And then I'll let you talk about what happened with Soulful Events, Jenny.
Sure. Well, thanks. And so Soulful Camp was just growing and evolving. And one year we actually had 5 camps in a year. That was a little too much. We realized that too. And even through COVID, that hit our business really hard because we're all about hugging and being together and in-person events. So that made a shift, but we actually were able to have one camp each of the years. It just the way it worked out. I was a little adapted, but we still did it. But we found that even women needed it even more after COVID, right? And the community and the connections, it just kept growing. And we were like, well, we want more than just camps. So in COVID times, we actually did Soulful Camp Online is what we called it. And we started doing it, going Zoom, being virtual for everybody, but everybody got burnt out on Zoom. We were just kind of done with it. And we thought, well, how can we keep bringing women together outside of camp that is not just on the camp times? And so then Soulful Day began, and that was our first one-day conference that we held in last year. Was that last year? Now we have our third one coming up in April, but we realized that there's so many other women that maybe you can't get away for a whole weekend, and maybe you can't dedicate all that time, but you're curious or you're wanting to get a little taste. So Soulful Day was the conference was born out of that. And then this year we've added on, it's our newest add-on to our Soulful Events, is our Soulful Retreat. So we know that, again, people can't go away for a whole weekend, but maybe, conferences, we've got speakers, we've got activities. It's not a stuffy conference. It's not a traditional conference. And we say that because that's just how people get the idea. It's in a conference hall, right? But the retreat is very much, you can choose 1 day or 2 days. It's in Blackstock up at Soul's Path. And so nice and close for our Durham region people to get to, and be able to go for a day and immerse themselves in healing workshops and spirituality and learning and growth and creative and play, so that they can start to tap into those inner callings to learn more about themselves, to maybe explore something that is a little off, not as traditional, and try something a little different in a safe, supportive community. And so by having the day retreats, we knew that gave women the opportunity to come for 1 day, come for both days. And if they want to stay over, they can and book it through the retreat center. But we wanted to have an affordable, accessible way too, that women could come out and get an idea of what we do. And, last year was our first soulful adventure. We went to Costa Rica, and we are so excited because we're going back to Costa Rica again in November of this year. And super excited about that. And there again, it's not just a soulful camp. We're so much more. It's all the events, and we have lots of amazing new things keep coming up as we grow.
Oh, that's exciting. I forgot about Costa Rica. Pardon me. I had forgotten that you did that last year, and it's on my bucket list to get to Costa Rica. I don't know whether it'll be in a retreat way or adventure way, or maybe both, but in my own mind, I was going to go to Costa Rica for a Points of View thing back before the pandemic hit, and then that rocked everybody in the events world. And so I didn't have that opportunity, but things have transpired, and who knows, maybe there's one way that I'll get there eventually. But that's really exciting. Actually, do you have the dates in November that you can share in case anybody sees this?
It's November 15th to the 22nd. It's not up on our website yet. We're still getting all the details sorted out, but we have got the date booked. But we're super excited. When we went last time, we met some incredible practitioners and facilitators that live in Costa Rica, and we are specifically going back to working with them again. They brought so much wisdom and healing and sacred ceremonies that we knew we needed to see them again, and that our community needed to experience the healing from these practitioners. And we're super pumped to go back again and experience it. And we're so excited because last time we went, it was dry season, so there were no waterfalls. Not where we were, that wasn't there. So this time it'll be just finished rainy season, and so we have a waterfall hike and hot springs that we're going to be in, and so there'll be a lot of fun things, but also a lot of healing and deep work. And we use the Points of View program in the cards when we're there in all our workshops too.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I love it. That's very exciting. And waterfalls all day long, please.
Yes.
Everybody's life, whether you're a water sign or not. But it would be very interesting. Like, I can go in so many different directions because we're like-minded. But I think what I'd like you to share, and I'll start with Heather on this because she mentioned something earlier. So I know that you bring in practitioners, and so this is all encompassing your events, your camps and your conferences and all the things. You bring other facilitators in to share their gifts. But Heather, you mentioned human design before. So I know what I am, and I have interviewed somebody before that dives into it from a business perspective. And so I think with human design, it's just so magical in so many different ways that you can do it. Mm-hmm. So Heather, my question to you is whether you want to talk about human design or if there's another modality. So what is the modality of choice for you to, and I'm going to write the line that you say about Soulful Events, which is dedicated to creating transformative experiences that empower women to reconnect with themselves and each other. Like, it's just so beautiful. And so, Heather, could you share in that framework the modality that you choose to use in these events that you produce?
Sure. Well, that's a big question because we use many different types of modalities.
Yep.
But I'm a manifester, so that's my human design, um, which is leaves me doing really focused work, and then I have to rest. So manifestors. So from a human design standpoint, I do a lot of the, like Jenny's just amazing at what she does, and we have our things, but for the modalities, we choose to bring in, like you said, women who have amazing gifts. And so there are so many choices for the women who attend camp to go on the journey that they need. We're not, we're providing several journeys, and then they're choosing what's right for them. So whether it's, I just need a break and I just want to sit and create a beautiful, lovely spiritual craft, or learn about crystals, you know, or I want to do a deep dive and I want to do a hypnotic journey and really dive into a past life regression, right? So there's so many different ways, but the whole thing is about, the biggest thing I want to say about modalities, and we don't really talk about modalities because it's, what do women need? And how are they going to get it?
Nice.
And how are they going to get it? With love, with compassion, with empathy, and know that it's safe to just be them. And that's the whole thing, is that women have learned not to be them, right? And they're coming into our space and we're telling you it's okay to be you. You are wonderful just as you are. So we meet them where they are and provide them with whatever they need. And the modality comes from so many different sources that there's not just one, if that makes sense.
It does.
And we have an amazing community of practitioners who come in and join us at our events. You know, they give, because their purpose is very similar to our purpose. And it's just helping, you know, expanding awareness, helping you get what it is you need to get to that next step wherever you are on your journey. And we're all on different journeys, right? So when I think of modalities, I like go right back to my learning and development, and I don't want to go back there.
Fair enough.
Things are so
Did I just trigger you?
Yeah, you triggered me.
Well, and to you know, and to Heather's point, you know, well, both of Heather's, you know, in learning our human design, I'm a generator, so you know, it's and it's knowing these things, and you know, I think that's human design shows you who you are as you are in its your most pure, beautiful expression of you. And that's why we think it's so amazing, because it really just shows you the essence of you. And all of the workshops and all of the things that we do is bringing women back to finding that essence of them, and that truth of who they are, that they are amazing and brilliant and here for a reason, and have unique skills and capabilities that make them exactly perfect as they are. And, you know, society's made us believe that we're not. We're lacking in everything. And so, you know, no wonder we're all confused and not sure of what makes us happy or what we want. But when we can take that time to say, who am I at my core? And when you start peeling those onion layers and getting that back, that's where peace is. And that's where joy lives, right? It's because you understand your inherent worth. It's not from the outside stuff. It's when it's on the inside. And that's, you know, Heather and I are really passionate about getting women to see their own value and their worth as who they are, not what they do, not all the roles and stuff, but just inherently valuable because you are here, right?
Yeah, I love so much of that. And I think you've articulated what has been going on in my mind for women. I just hosted a retreat this past weekend, and it's so interesting to me how, and I'm generalizing as I always do, how women just don't give ourselves permission to explore ourselves. We put ourselves in these roles, in these buckets, and all the things. And some of us may not be living our true purpose because we're spending so much time in those buckets. So I think it's lovely that women have the opportunity to have permission to go and explore and spend time with other women. And so from a marketing perspective, I'm curious, and I also want to learn, to be honest with you, is from a marketing perspective, how do you draw these people out? Like, you have community, so obviously you have people that come back over and over again and things like that. But for somebody maybe that's watching this and going, human design, I don't know what the heck you're talking about, and spirituality and what, like, because I was there when I was corporate, and then I went on my journey. And so I can resonate very much with what both of you are saying. But let's talk to the person that does it, that person that said to me, I will never go to anything you do because I don't want to explore what's going on. Like, how do you attract those people? Or do you even get in the minutia of that, and it's just like you surrender and whoever shows up, shows up?
Yeah. We're very, very fortunate that we do have an amazing community. And I'll just use our camps, for example, but over 50% of the attendees at our camp are return campers. So they've been before. So we don't spend a lot of money on advertising because the women find us through their friends, quite honestly. We do marketing, we do market on, so, we're on social, we have a presence there. We have an email list, and we send out all of our great, emails to our list. But it's really women talking to other women and saying, I went to this place, I wasn't expecting it. It was, the testimonials we have about the non-judgment, about the community, that it was the first time I could really feel I could be me. That's what markets soulful events. That's what draws women, and they feel it. They feel the energy, the love when they come. For someone, and we have women who just come to camp because they found it, and it's like, oh, that looks cool. Nice. And then they get there and they're like, wow, this is what I've been looking for, and I didn't even know.
I love that. I love that. Jenny, do you have a perspective on the whole marketing thing, or do you resonate with everything Heather just said?
Yeah, we really, we also know of law of energy and vibration and all of that. Those that are looking for us will be, we're vibrating out to attract some really awesome people, and we attract in awesome people. And, we've had so many incredible women over the years that they really are open to sharing this with other people because they're seeing the difference it is making. And, it's like-minded people come. So, we just know that it's going there. And Heather and I are very much on the faith and trust. And like what you put that out there, the energy in the universe, hires, whatever it is, it's bringing it back to us. So we just keep focused on being in high vibration and energy and really focusing on the vision for where we want to go. And not get caught up on the how as much. It's hard because we do get caught up on that, right? A lot. But when especially when the two of us are in really good flow and in sync, it's when we are in that full trust and faith and know that there is a purpose for this, that we are here to help these women, that there is the right people will come to us. And same with leaders. Like when we put out our leader call and when, we're like, are we going to get anybody apply this year? Are we going to have this? The right people come. Look at you, you're coming. The right people come, and magically it always works out with what they're offering and what we need and the timings and stuff, because we trust that and we know that that's how energy works. And so we really try, Heather and I, to keep ourselves in that space of faith and trust and energetic alignment, because that's the way our business propels forward. When we get stuck in fear and we get stuck in lack, and we had some really, really big challenges last year, like really big challenges. And It caught us up for a bit, but when we were able to shift ourselves back out of it, then the momentum started again. So it really reinforces all the tools that we've learned for ourselves in our own personal healing journeys. It also applies to business. And so it's putting that, having that together as one.
I love that. I think what you said can resonate with anybody, whether you're on a spiritual journey or anything, just any entrepreneur is that I actually have it as one of my watch faces. It's just trust the journey, right? Because again, without getting too into it for people that'll be like, oh, you're starting to freak me out here. Because that happens, right? But I think it's this trust the process and trust that I love the vibration and all of that is, and again, if that's verbiage, if you're watching this and don't know what that means, then you need to go and invest in these ladies and learn and all the things. So I'm gonna dive into the tool and all the things. Jenny's familiar with it, so I'm gonna ask her. But before I do that, I'd like you to share. You just launched a new website recently. I don't know when exactly, but one of you, I'd love for you to share that, because if anybody's watching this and is intrigued and wants to learn more, see the marketing and all the things, where would they go to do that?
Well, I'm just going to preface this and say that Heather did our whole website. She's the kick-ass. Yeah, she's our tech guru of the team for sure. So Heather built our beautiful website. So I'll let her tell you about it.
I love that.
Thanks. Yeah, so we launched our new website in January because we rebranded. We never really talked about the rebrand, right, to Soulful Events from Soulful Camp. But because of the major challenges we had last year, I think the hires were telling us before that we needed to grow and expand, but we were very comfortable. And then we kind of got a kick upside the head, and and we're down for a bit, but then Soulful Events grew out of that challenge, which is beautiful. And Jenny and I, we recognized it, made the change, and launched our website, Soulful Events. So soulfulevents.com. Please go visit it. It's SOULFULL events.com. And on there, you'll see our offerings. You'll see lots of the women who've attended camp. And we'd love for you to check us out. It is kind of our soul on there as well. It's who we are. I think it gives a very good impression of what we're all about. It's not finished yet either. It's a work in progress.
Good on you for putting it out and not being a perfectionist. So that is the win in itself, I would say. Because again, as entrepreneurs, again, generalizing, but we get in our heads and it has to be perfect and all the messaging and all that. So good on you for putting it out there and trusting that the right people will find it and all that. I am so curious. I'll have to have you back another time to talk about the challenges, because I think it's been, again, very similar to you. There's been something going in my head about doing these conversations that we're always talking about the good stuff. And there's challenges for entrepreneurs, small business owners, people in life, right? And so if we want to encourage people to explore, we need to talk about the people that are facilitating and stepping into their greatness, but also everything's not sunshine and roses every day. There's challenges that you have to overcome. And I think it's just something that's coming out to me right now is this. I think we get in our own way because we're not perfect and we're not doing all the things, so that we resist putting stuff out there until it's perfect. And so I've been thinking about shifting these and having a component where it's like, let's get into the really crappy parts of business or what has really transpired to shift to have something beautiful come out of it. So
well, we'd be
I'm
happy
curious
to
of myself.
We'd be happy to come on and talk about that. We've had a lot of SHIT. So, but like Heather said, if we, and we both know this and we talk about this at all our events is everything you go through, you grow through. Yeah. And when you grow through it, you learn and you evolve. It's your next thing. And when you trust that all the stuff that has happened to you or the crap or the challenges that have come up are preparing you for your next best thing, That's when you can just like get into that and know that. And so, like Heather said, it was the worst thing for us, but it totally twisted and shifted things, and we wouldn't have our 1 day retreats if we hadn't done that. So, all of these things we're trusting. This happens for a reason. Take what lessons you can, level up to that next spot. And that's the journey of an entrepreneur anyways. But like, yeah, we'd be happy to come talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Everything, like you said, everything happens for a reason. So there's definitely a reason why you brought this up today, to get my mind and moving forward in that, because again, it goes to one of the sessions that I'm doing at one of your events, is these moments where we're like, you're in the shitter and you're trying to figure things out, but you're alone because you're an entrepreneur. So everything just spirals and things. And so that's why it's important to trust that you can put yourself out there, spend time with other people, because it's all about perspective, right? I have a perspective on one thing. Somebody else, based on their journey, is going to look at it and go, hold on, have you ever looked at it this way? And that's where the beauty comes, as Jenny knows, because we're going to tap into the tools that I use in my work, and Jenny does as well. This is my favorite little one. This is punctum. And so points of view is a coaching tool. We'll use it that way, but practitioners and coaches use it all across the world for perspective shifting. I think that's the easiest way to put it. And because, like I said, we all come from a different place in our lives, and conversation, connection, and all of that is how I believe, and I think you ladies would agree, is how we learn and grow and prosper and move forward and all the things. So with that, in this bundle of joy, there is there is a picture, a word, and a question. For the sake of these, I invite my guests, and we're going to do it. I'm going to ask Jenny, and then I'm going to ask Heather to choose either a word or a question. And these are random, obviously, and we use them as a means of creating a process to take people through. But I also love just pulling a random card, because, again, everything happens for a reason, to see what comes up and get perspective from Jenny and Heather. So, Jenny, would you like a word or a question?
Word.
Word? Okay. And then I just shuffle them, and whichever one, two popped out, but I'm going to just do this one's, and again, it comes up. And won't pull in the tools and all the things, but I'm very curious what you have to say about this.
That's my favorite one. That's, you know what? Just be. That is kind of, that's almost like my whole motto of my life, to be honest with you. It's just be yourself, be your own unique person. You were here to be there, to be your own expression of yourself. When I first started getting tattoos, I had one little tiny one, and it was like, oh, it's visible, people will see it. And then it's like, but just be yourself. So, you have to be who you are. I swear, I have tattoos. I do this, but I'm also a crybaby. I bawl my eyes out at every little thing, but if I tried to hide and pretend I was somebody else, that's not just being me. And I've learned it on my journey that I'm much happier when I'm fully expressed as myself. So I say, just be. It's just like, just be you, and screw everybody else, because you're the only one that's here. So yeah, just be you. That's, yeah.
I love that.
That was a good one.
Yeah. And again, everything, as we know, happens for a reason with these tools and all the good things. But I think what you shared also resonates with what you had said before, was that, like, take time for yourself and just be and explore and all of those things. It's just beautiful. I can't believe that's your favorite. And it's funny because I know what a picture for that. And I'm standing in the exact way that is. So I think that is pretty funny, and nobody sees how I'm standing, but so you have to come to one of our events and see what that card looks like. Let's just put that there. So Heather, we'll go to you. Do you want a word or a question?
I'll do a question since Jenny did a word.
All right. That? Sounds good. Woo, lots of them came out. There's lots to talk about. Okay, well, there was two that came out, but I'll do this one only because it related to kind of what we were talking about before. And so again, these are random. And so it's going to be kind of like, oh, you may have to think for a second, but I'm curious, in your world, what isn't working for me?
Isn't working for me. That's a good question. What isn't working for me? I think, are we talking from a business or a personal, or does it matter?
Does not matter.
Doesn't matter. I mean, they're all combined anyway. I think sometimes what isn't working for me is balance. So I don't balance myself enough. Being a manifestor, I need balance. So I need to take the time when I go and then sit back and relax and do nothing for a day or two, because that's what my body, that's what my soul needs. I don't always do that. So I get out of balance. And then when I'm out of balance, I feel like I need to be in more control. And Jenny and I know that one. I mean, that's a big one for me, is control. So when I'm out of balance, I need to be more in control. And then that takes me more out of balance. So it's kind of a ripple effect. Thankfully now that happens in a smaller time frame because I'm so aware of myself, whereas previously, in previous years, it would have been maybe months, sometimes years. I mean, let's just face it, for my first 45 years, I was out of balance. I had no self-worth. So, thankfully it's not that timeline anymore. It's just a little short timeline now. And Jenny and I are really good at keeping each other accountable. So we call each other out with love, and it helps us grow. So yeah, I think that's what's not working for me.
Oh, I love that. There's so many ways we could take that. But what stuck out the most for me, and that's, again, I don't know if you ladies choose a word of the year or anything like that, but I did a retreat last year and I started the day around that word awareness. And it was so magical. I used it as a way for everybody to introduce themselves. So Jenny, you would know, where you ask them to see different words within the main word. And I was just so gobsmacked at the very beginning of how everybody saw that word differently. And ever since that, awareness has been so huge, because it's with everything. When you are aware, when you are in the present, when you are tapping into the joy that you have and all of that, that's when I think the balance comes. So it's full circle. And I thank you, Heather, for talking about that word, because I think it is one that I think everybody could stand to take a moment and go, how aware am I in my life about what's going on? What brings me joy? Why don't I play? Like all of that stuff, which then gets, so then when you're in that, it's a moment to say, okay, how do I find a way to explore those things? And then insert Jenny and Heather in Soulful Events. So I think that's lovely how that came full circle.
It's so true. And I'll just say one thing about awareness is that when you're walking in unawareness, you aren't able to change because you don't know what you need to change. Ooh. And so that's why awareness is so critical, right? And that's what Soulful Events does. We're all about making women see the things that may have been blinding them before. So taking down those barriers, removing the veil, whatever, you want to call it, so that they can see the one, maybe even just one thing I need to be aware about.
Yeah, because you could find one thing in a whole weekend that could be that tipping point that shifts everything for you. It's so juicy. Anybody watching this, please support people that do support these two ladies, but really in general, wherever you are in your life, if you have people like Heather and Jenny, like I beg of you to insert yourself into their worlds, because, and I'm like speaking right into the camera right now, because it is so, so important. Like my last 8 years, I would not be in this forum right now where I am talking to you beautiful ladies if I hadn't explored through my own means, through points of view, through other retreats, other things that I've done to really tap into who I am as a person and how I'm going to serve in what I like to call now my midlife revival. So we're just going to leave that at that. One more question, and then I'm going to invite everybody. So we're on LinkedIn right now, and I'm hopeful that we're on Facebook as well. But for Heather and Jenny to share, please tap into them on LinkedIn and all the good things. But because I use the word DiSH and my DiSH is in the name of my business, I also ask my guests what their favorite dish is. And so this could be something you make, somebody in your world makes, a restaurant, all of those yummy things. So whichever of you has one first, just speak up.
Favorite dish. Yeah. Go. Do you know, Jenny? Because
well, if we're thinking like favorite food, like just give me pizza. Pizza all the time. Pizza, 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 pizza. I love pizza. But a favorite dish is like chicken cordon bleu, like wrapped chicken with cheese and bacon on the outside and Greek potatoes. Mwah! That's my favorite dish.
I love that. That sounds amazing. And I know I should not do these when I'm hungry, because then I'm like,
I know, I'm really
taps in. Heather, what comes to mind for you?
I would say probably the thing that pops in my mind first is souvlaki. Souvlaki and Greek salad. Like, I could eat that all day long, every day.
Well, that's really funny because that's what I made for dinner last night. Can you believe that? That's so funny. And my son had his girlfriend over, and I was like, oh gosh, because she doesn't like everything. And I'm like, hope she likes it. We did that, like the pure from, because I went to Greece a few years ago where I didn't realize that they actually put French fries in it, in like a real souvlaki. And so I made the French fries and I did all the things, and it was yummy. And yes, I'm now really, really hungry. So thanks for that. And there you go, like connections, like of all the things you could have chose, it was what I made for dinner last night. Like seriously, that's crazy. Okay, so we're going to wrap things up because we have to go on with our days. But I would love to talk to you forever and ever and ever, because we're like-minded and all the things. So Jenny, again, you're on all of the socials, but because we're on LinkedIn, if you could share a bit of like where you like to have people really follow you, whether it is on LinkedIn or another platform, for both of you, really.
Yeah, I think for us, Instagram and Facebook are big platforms for us. LinkedIn, we're both getting to get on it a bit more. But honestly, about 3 weeks ago, my LinkedIn account was hacked, and they started messaging all creepy men and deleted all of my information. And so it's a blank slate right now. My LinkedIn profile doesn't look that great. That's on the list to get done. But yeah, Instagram and Facebook are definitely where we're most active. And of course, check us out on our website, soulfulevents.com. And you can join our mailing list. And that way you can hear about the different things. And in the newsletters and emails that come out, it's not just advertising. It's not us marketing. We're actually sharing tips and ideas about mindfulness and, strength and optimism and all of those kinds of things. And if they pop on our website, there's a pop-up and you can win a free trip to camp. So, I mean, go check it out. You can win a trip to camp.
Yes, I forgot about that. I entered, and even though I was like, this is silly that I'm entering, but I'm going to enter anyways because I'm coming.
Not?
Well, and so thank you. So Jenny and Heather, you can find them both on LinkedIn, as you can find Soulful Events as well. Actually, what I would love for you to share, just as we're signing off, and I'm putting you on the spot, but I'm presuming if you can share the dates of all of the things that you're doing. So again, if anybody wants to, I'm in, what are the dates? What are they?
I have them in front of me. You want me to do it? So we have our Soulful Day conference is coming up in April. So that is our next one coming up at the Jubilee Pavilion, April 5th. And then we have our Soulful Camp. Our 25th camp is May 2nd to 4th, and that's in Haliburton, Highland area. And then in May, that's May. Then in June, we have our 1 or 2 day retreat in Blackstock. It's on June 7th and 8th. And then we've got July and August, nothing's happening. September, we have our camp up in Camp Lutherland and Golden Lake, and it is focused solely on healing and spirituality. So if you want to dig right in for all of that stuff, that's the camp to come to, and that's September 5th, 6th, and 7th. And that's our only camp that we actually offer an extended stay option, because there's a lot of deep healing work that happens during the weekend. And so we have 14 spots for people to stay afterwards to integrate and to take that to that next level. And actually that's almost sold out, the extended stay. So that's really cool. And then we have one more camp in October, which is the 24th, 25th, 26th, and that is in Bancroft area. And we have another Soulful Day coming up in October as well, on October 4th. So many events. And then November, of course, we're going to Costa Rica from the 15th to the 22nd. So pretty much every month we've got an event going on, except for July and August, because that's our summer. So
smart. Also, I love that. And I really love that you've really planned your year, which is another important thing, right? Because then that's where the energy goes and the vibration, and the universe can work in your favor to bring people and all the things. So I think that is magical. Heather, did you want to add anything?
I did. If they can't join us live and in person, we do have the Soulful online, which is Seasons of Soul. So it's a 3-month series. We had our first month in January, but they can still register for February and March. So check that out on the website, and it's really allows you to meet our incredible community, do some digging online if you can't come to an in-person event.
That's brilliant, because again, it could be a way to, they can't physically get there, can't invest whatever. I don't know what this costs, but I'm presuming it's a lower cost option. We make it really very affordable. It's $37 for one session. So yeah, right. And so then, to your point, they get a taste of what you have to offer so that they can build up the whatever it is for them to actually step into their power in person. So I love that.
Yeah.
And it was also, it was a way too for our community to keep in touch every month, to have something going on, where it's something to look forward to, something where they know they're going to see their soul sisters again. Because we always say, once you come to one of our events, you're a soul sister for life. And so you've got that community, and that's, a beautiful organic thing that grew, that Heather and I hadn't planned, but the community that has evolved from Soulful Camp. We have over 350 people in our alumni, and they are there to support each other through thick and thin, to celebrate, to send prayers, and businesses have happened because of it. They do breakfasts once a month. Like it's amazing. It's amazing.
That's awesome. And it's what you want as facilitators, right? You want to keep that going, because actually I was going to ask you earlier, I forget at what point, from an accountability perspective, right? So they have this magical experience at camp or at one of your events, and then they go home. This is what happened to me when I went to Peru last year, right? You have this magnificent transformative experience, and then you come back home into everyday
reality.
Life. And you're like, whoa, that doesn't match. And those that didn't go with you don't understand the person that's come back. And so all that to say, this online platform allows for accountability for that community. I think accountability is huge, right? To be with like-minded people and to keep that container that you're in going forward, because what's the point of doing transformational work if you're not going to actually make it transcend into something for you? So that's for another day, because we could talk all day, literally. I literally feel that. So with that, I will say thank you so much to both of you for spending time with me today, and those that are watching. If you've watched this and see this and would like to be interviewed, I would love to interview you. These are What's Your Dish conversations. You can email me, as Jenny did, at heather@dishevents.ca, and we'll plan a day and Dayton. Well, it's always Fridays at 10, so you have to make that work in your schedule when it does. And we get on and we have these awesome conversations, and you learn and grow and share your gifts with other people. So thank you, Heather. Thank you, Jenny, for spending your time with me today. And go follow them on LinkedIn. Go find them on Instagram and Facebook, Soulful Events, and go visit their website, soulfulevents.com. Thank you so much, ladies. Enjoy.
Thank you for having us.
You're so welcome. Bye for now.
Bye.